This is part 2 of how we discovered that our youngest daughter had a super rare genetic condition that would ultimately take her life. With all my kids when they were like tiny, I'd always have them just sit in my lap facing me, and I would talk to them and just interact. And Poppy, I would notice when she was around 3 months old, we would do this all the time, and I felt like she was never looking at me or making eye contact. Like she was always kind of looking off in the distance. This was springtime. The sun was starting to come out more. I thought we just had a lot of light in our house. Like I thought the girl needed sunglasses. Like I thought she was always just like, whoo, it's bright. Again, my mind wasn't looking for anything to be wrong with her. And so I wasn't looking for anything to be wrong. Having a little newborn in the home, it also makes our 2 older kids, Rosie and Peter, want to go back and look at their baby photos. You know, we would go back and kind of look at videos of Rosie and Peter, and in comparing them with Poppy, I started to notice like, oh man, like Poppy's a little bit behind. She's maybe not like reaching for things. She's maybe not like putting things in her mouth as much. It's a very subtle things where I thought, you know, she's maybe just like a week or 2 behind than my other kids. I don't know, maybe they were super advanced. Just throughout the days, I started to have a few concerns about her vision, and I brought it up with my mom, my husband. Like we were all just kind of talking a little bit like, oh, what do you guys think? Sometimes we would be like, no, she can see. And then other times we'd be like, I don't know. There were some toys that she loved. Like she loved laying under the fan in our room, the like black and white contrast. She had her favorite toys. Like she could see some things, but at other times we thought, can she? Like there was just some confusion. I do remember though distinctly one time I went to this indoor play place with all 3 of my kids. Rosie and Peter were up playing with other kids, and I was sitting next to a mom who also had a little baby girl. And this little baby girl was a bit more chunky. She was more interactive with her older siblings. Like they would come say hi to her, and this little girl would reach for her siblings like faces kind of. There was just this really precious interaction. And Rosie and Peter would come up to Poppy and she would just kind of zone out, I guess I would say. And so I asked this mom sitting next to me, I said, oh, how old is your little one? Thinking she would say like, oh, 6 or 7 months. And this mom said, oh, she's 3.5 months, which is what my daughter was. I remember sitting there and hearing that our babies are the same age and seeing the developmental difference. That's when I got concerned. I couldn't stop thinking about it at that point. Our 4-month appointment, I want to say it was only 10 days out at that point. I could barely wait for that appointment because I was concerned. I had questions for our pediatrician, mainly about Poppy's vision. I thought she can't see. She just can't see. Like there's something going on. It was just consuming. Those next 10 days, it was just consuming. Finally made it into the pediatrician. It was a normal 4-month well check. He did all the things, you know, the head measurements, everything. And again, Poppy's head had not grown since she was 2 months old. Like maybe a 0.5 centimeter, I don't know, but she was off the charts. This pediatrician that we had turned out to be such a blessing. He was so thorough. He always spent extra time with us. He did as many thorough vision tests as he could with her, turning off the lights, using different things, and she just wasn't tracking. And so he also was like, boy, something's wrong with her vision and her head is small. And he was concerned, we were concerned. And he said, you know, I want to send her to a specialized doctor. This is a pediatric ophthalmologist. And he also said, we might also want to do an MRI just to take a look at her brain. And he said, but I don't know. We happened to get into that ophthalmologist within 1 week. And so we decided, you know what, before we do an MRI, let's just see if she needs some cute little baby glasses. We were very optimistic and hopeful going into this appointment. I thought Poppy just needs glasses. Like she's gonna be the cutest baby with little glasses on. We'll get her like little pink or yellow ones. She's already the cutest baby. These glasses are gonna make her even cuter. Like that's what I was thinking. So we go into this appointment and she looked at Poppy's eyes, did all of these different, such basic tests. They like dilated her eyes. They used a few like toys to see if she could track. They looked in them. A lot of little tests, but nothing seemed that thorough to me. So the doctor leaves and she comes back in and she said, I'm concerned. Your daughter's eyes are fine, but I think it's something going on in the brain. One of her optic nerves looks a little small. I didn't understand what that meant. How can you know if someone's eyes don't work? Don't you at least need to test them with glasses to see if it works? Like I just didn't understand someone telling me that her eyes work, but her brain isn't working. There was a disconnect. She also said, I would recommend that you guys get your daughter an MRI. And that appointment, whew, started a whole chain reaction of fear and Google searches, like trying to figure out what was really going on with our daughter's brain. So come back for part 3.